once before. Each time we choose a bit of a different focus of study. Last time meditation, this time. If you have curiosity about the origins of yoga, like to learn a little bit more about the 8 limbs of yoga, of Yoga Sutras, the people at the Himalayan Institute are specialists in that, and they will be sharing some of their knowledge with us. I'll teach you yoga every day. It's a beautiful place, incredible food, and a very relaxing environment. So mostly rest and relaxation from a Thursday evening to a Sunday afternoon. It's in mid-September, and if you have questions about any of that stuff, I can help you with it after class today. Let's get started. So come into your child's pose. The best thing about Sunday mornings is we've got 90 minutes together to set aside everything else in life and just take care of ourselves. So the invitation to you is to practice in such a way that in every single pose, your body feels challenged but good. Start with a deep breath in and a full breath out. And then while you're here in your child's pose, keep focusing on your breathing and making it steady, but walk your hands over to the left, particularly your right hand. Stretch it as far away from you as you can, maybe hips up off of your heels a little bit. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, sink your hips back to your heels, and you'll feel additional stretching in your right hand all the way through the arm and the armpit, down through each one of your ribs and into your right hip crease. So put your body in the way of that stretch and breathe into the right side of your body. Breath by breath, move by move, you get a chance to wake up. Hi, Jem. Inside of your own experience. Sensation brings our attention into what's happening right now. Walk your hands to the other side. Now it'll be your left hand to anchor. Maybe pick your heels up and move your hand one handprint further. And then as you exhale, ease your hips back. Let your left side body draw and hold all of your attention while you breathe. When your attention is there on the left side of your body and you're breathing, just allow yourself to notice whatever is showing up in your body right there. Whatever you're feeling, however the space is, whatever comes up. Whatever it is exactly what it was meant to be here. Then walk your hands back to the center. Bring yourself up into a tabletop position. Shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. Take a deep breath in and just stretch as long as you can from sitting bones to the crown of your head. And just stay there for a few more breaths. Breathing and stretching your body long. Debbie always describes it this way, and it's a good description. Imagine that your knees are sinking down into sand and you're hugging them toward one another. And you could do that as well with your hands. So your body becomes a little lighter when you do that. Then breathe in. This time now as you exhale, start to just let your chest settle down through your arm bones toward the ground beneath you. Nothing to force, just let it sink with each one of your breaths so that your arm bones in effect get taller. It's like they're standing up toward the ceiling while your hands and your knees, you just keep scooping them down in and hugging them toward each other. A couple more breaths here to just let it sink down. You can keep on building your breathing as you're letting this action happen. So in yoga, there are many different principles we work with, but one of the Yoga Sutras, the only one that refers to physical pose, is Sukhasthira Asanam, and it means essentially to practice easy and steady. One more time, breathe in. Maybe a sigh, exhale, and sink your chest down. Hold that one for a breath. The notion of practicing with ease can be almost the hardest thing to do. Now we're going to do some movement on your next breath. Breathe in. When you exhale, start pressing your hands deep into the ground and lifting up through your arm bones until your chest lifts through your spine and your upper back presses as high as it can to the ceiling. While you're here, you could even take a breath and on the exhale, let your head just drop down. See if while your hands are pressing, that somehow or another, the arches of your palms, the hollow of your armpit, the round of your chest keeps growing higher and higher toward the ceiling. And then when it does that, you can just be breathing across that balloon of the top of your shoulders. So we're just working in the shoulder area right now. Take another breath. On the exhale, press and lift as high as you can, blowing out. On the inhale, sink your chest down. On the exhale, press and lift your chest up. A couple times like that. Inhale, let it just sink. Exhale, press. One more time. Inhale, sink. Exhale, press. Now stay in this press position where your back is arching and shift the weight toward your fingertips so you really feel it in your fingers. Then move over to your right baby finger and circle back around. And then over to your left baby finger and through all 10, and keep your clockwise circles going with your upper back kind of rounded. Once you finish that way, take the circles counterclockwise with your back kind of rounded. And then just feel what you can feel in your shoulder joints. Finish your last circle and come to the tabletop and come into a neutral back once again. This will give you a chance to really stretch your neck forward. Breathe in and reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Look up and stretch. As you exhale, thread the needle. Weave your right arm under your left. Put your shoulder on the mat. Stretch your neck and rest your ear. Then you can add left hand interlacing to your right hand, and it can just pull your right arm longer on the mat. You could take your top arm around behind your back if you'd like. And for some of you, your left leg, you might like to stretch that directly out to the left side. Now, once you get all of this set up, however you've chosen to set it up, drag your hips up and back so that your body is as long and lean as it can be. And then breathe into and open your back right rib cage. In this position, take one more full breath in. Open up your mouth, sigh, and unwind the pose, whatever that looks like for you. We'll meet up in the tabletop. Steady yourselves in your tabletop with a breath. And then we'll move to the other sides, thread the needle. On the inhale, lift your left arm up, stretch for the ceiling. And as you exhale, weave your left arm under your right. Put your shoulder down and then stretch your neck and put your ear down. Follow the lead of your body as you breathe with what to set up as the intensification for you here. If you feel like your neck is kind of crowded, make it different for you. Maybe you put your ear on a block, whatever it takes so that you feel more of a lengthening versus a crowding. Add the sigh. One more breath. Then use your next breath to bring yourself out of this pose. Stretch up, look up, reach up. Then hands to the floor for downward facing dog. You can walk your hands more forward so that you can turn your toes under and lift your hips up and back. And then to the rhythm of your breath, bend and straighten your knees. With an inhale, lift your right leg up into the air. Bend your knee and open your hip. Breathe and stretch the whole long right side of your body. Then step your right foot to the outside of your right hand and bring your back knee down to the mat. Look forward and breathe here. You might settle back and settle forward. Settle back and settle forward. One more time, just a little bit. On your exhale, settle forward. Stay right there. Move your toes out to 2 o'clock. Peel the arch of your foot off of the floor. Oh, and drop your knee out. That's something else first thing in the morning. Let your hip just open. Keep your hands like you have in your tabletop where they press down and they hug inward so that the whole thing feels a little bit lighter. Then with the weight in your fingertips and your fingertips working with the floor, turn your toes under, lift your hip up and back, stretch it straight, and put your foot on the floor. Then the left side, raise your left leg up into the air, bend your knee, heel to your hip, and turn open. Stretch it and breathe, and then step your foot to the outside of your left hand. Back knee down. Inhale, exhale, sink. That's it. Take that a few times. Inhale, exhale, sink. One more time. Inhale, exhale, sink. Press your hands down and be light. Then turn your toes out to 10 o'clock. Peel your arch and drop your knee out and breathe. While you're breathing here, make your body light, like your belly lifting, your hands scooping into the sand below. Make the whole pose feel good in your body. Then turn your back toes under, squeeze your fingertips, reach your leg up and back, stretch it, and bring your foot to the floor. One breath, just stretch long and back through your hips. Then look forward and step up to your hands. Set your feet up to be parallel and hip width distance. Then take the halfway lift and forward fold. Fold your arms and sway from side to side. As you're swaying and breathing here, continue to intend to just let go and let there be space, more space between each vertebrae, each rib, through your neck. The sides of your neck get a little longer. One more breath to let the weight just hang. Then, before we move, attention on your feet. Press the feet down into the ground and scoop them in toward one another. You'll feel the whole inner line of your thighs light up as your feet press down into the earth and hug in. So they're not going to slide. They'll just feel like they're about to slide. Once you've got that action, breathe in. And as you exhale, press your feet down. Come rolling up to standing. Take your time. Unwind your neck, reach your arms overhead, and hands into prayer position. Set your gaze on one point and set the intention for your practice. 3 times, take a deep breath in. Inhale and reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. High plank to low plank as you exhale. Inhale, stretch upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths. Breathe in and a steady breath out. 2 more. Inhale. Long, steady exhale. Here's the last one. Take a breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Press your feet down, scoop them in, stand up and look, reach, fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So even here as you're breathing, you can press your palms into the ground and hug them toward each other, and press your feet into the ground and hug them in toward each other. Take another breath. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Inhale, stand. Reach all the way up and go back. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop to the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Welcome, Wendy. 3 breaths. Yeah, so inside of this breathing, you create your own unique experience, and yet somehow the whole of us all breathing together, it somehow works together. Last breath, exhale, move up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold, press your feet down, hug them in, stand up. Can you feel that the whole way up your inner thighs? Fold to the floor. Keep it working in your feet like that. Halfway lift, low plank. If you keep that action, you'll float. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Start to really move energy with this breathing. Intend that to be what happens. 2 more. The breath might be a little quicker than you came into the room with, and let yourself just go give into it. 1 more time. Exhale and empty, then jump. Halfway lift. Nice, Bob. Fold. Last time, press down, squeeze in, stand up, keep the in squeeze, fold to the floor, keep squeezing. Halfway lift, drop to your low plank and keep the squeeze. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Got 3 breaths here. Are you getting any sense of that? Feet, hands sink into the floor and have a hugging into each other. Keep that sensation. Breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees, float. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose, sit back, and let's hold this. You breathe. Let this be the case now with your feet here. As you breathe, let them feel like they're settling down deep into the sand the way they do when you stand at the edge of the ocean and the water's washing past your feet. And then squeeze them in and feel the fire down through your whole inner thigh line. Take another breath. Fold to the floor. Keep the fire. Halfway lift. Drop to your low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge for warrior 1. We'll hold this for a few breaths. Keep breathing. Still here for both feet. Concentrate on the first one first. Let there be a quality of a sinking down. And for your feet, a scooping and hugging into the midline. And then put your attention on your back foot. Sink it down, particularly the back edge of your heel. And then scoop it towards you so that your arch lifts. Hold that for this last breath. Then inhale, reach up. Hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side now. Step forward and lunge. Arms overhead. If you get this sinking, you're going to feel so much work here in your inner thighs. You'll feel them tomorrow and the next day. Point your foot straight forward. Sink your foot down and hug it in. Hug. Don't let me win this tug of war, Greg. That's it. Now keep on breathing. Do the same with your back foot. Then lift the pit of your belly. Look up. Hands to the floor for chaturanga. Keep that squeeze the whole way. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, open up your mouth, stick out your tongue, and sigh. 2 more times. Okay, now we're going to flow. This is the last breath here. Exhale, bend your knees, and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, keep the inner thigh fired, fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Drop to the low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Arms up, lift up. Hands down, chaturanga. It's going to get a little messy here. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side step. Hug the leg in. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. You need a side, take it. Let yourself reset every time we come right here. 2 more breaths. Get your inner thigh line fired up. Breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees. Jump. Halfway lift. Suzette, that was really good. Fold. Sit back, chair, and reach. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Drop to your low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, right side step and lunge. Warrior 1, look up and reach. Hands down, steady, empty your breath. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step. Lift your arch and reach. Hands down, chaturanga, and steady your empty. Up dog, downward facing dog. While you're here in your downward facing dog, with your right hand, take a breath, pick it up off the floor and circle it up, around, and back, and put your hand on the floor. And then with your left arm, circle it up, around, and back, and put your hand on the floor. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knees and hop. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Last round, chair pose. Sit and reach. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Drop to your low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side. Step. Take a deep lunge. Lift. Hands down. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Left side. Step and lunge. Lift up and look. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Give it a sigh. Raise your right leg into the air and bend your knee. Let your hip just hang open. Take a breath in. On the exhale, bring your knee around and touch it to your right armpit. Hover and be light. Then take your leg up and back, just where we brought it from. And then bring your knee under your body to touch the opposite armpit. Take your leg up and back. Stay right here and breathe. Then flip the pose over, 2 feet on the floor. You can take the wild thing. You can take flip dog, but reach up and overhead as you breathe. And then for some of you, reach all the way to the ground. Still others, maybe touching the ground's not what's right for you here. And you could make huge circles with your right arm, taking up the most amount of space you can for 3 huge circles. Finish the last one. And then for everyone, side plank, put your right hand down and face the long left side of your mat. Steady breathing. Turn your top arm's palm forward and reach it over your ear. And see if you can create for yourself this opposition of your hand stretching one way and your feet stretching the other way. So instead of your body kind of getting crowded and folded, the whole thing gets long and lean. Now make your belly really strong and then just float high plank to low. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. Let yourself resettle here. Let your limbs sink down into the ground and hug them inward. You'll need that. Raise your left leg into the air. Bend your knee, bring your heel to your hip and turn your hips open. Bring your breathing. Make your belly strong. Inhale. Exhale, belly to your spine, knee to your left armpit. Take your leg up and back, open up. Bring your knee under your body and across to the opposite armpit and hover. Then take it up and back and flip the dog over. Steady breathing while you make the transition. Get set in your feet and your hand. And then with your left arm, the 3 biggest circles that you can trace through the air with this arm. See how much space you can take up with those huge circles. One more time. Then the side plank, left hand down, face the long right side of your mat. Keep your steady breath going. When you get the chance to be the teacher standing in the room and looking around, what you often see in these side planks, especially as we get stronger, is a bit of folding and the butt popping out. A lot of swaying in the lower back here. Turn your palm forward, reach your arm over your ear. Be patient with the pose. Now press your feet away from your reaching arm. The 2 things in opposite directions. You stretch. The whole of your body gets long and lean. Now before we leave, make your belly really strong and keep that. High plank to low. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot forward for crescent lunge. Arms overhead. Set your gaze. Steady breathing. And then with your feet, like your feet are sinking, front one down and it's hugging in. So imagine it's hugging in. And then same with your back leg, that your foot is sinking down and you imagine that it's hugging in. Once you've got that from your 2 legs, reach up and go back. Then hands to prayer position and twist. Left elbow to your right knee. Keep your breath flowing. Keep your legs like your feet are sinking into the sand and hugging in, and then develop the twist. You can open your arms. You can wrap your top arm behind your back if you would like. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Twist. Keep the inner thigh line strong. Come up to the crescent lunge. Steady your gaze. Open to the warrior two. Now settle into your feet and breathe. Steady breathing. Let your feet sink down like they're sinking into the sand. And then your front foot, draw your thigh out to your knee and from your knee back into your hip and go low. Tilt for extended side angle. Reach for the floor at first and reach for the ceiling and get the stretch of your body. And then top arm, turn your palm forward and reach your arm over your ear. Opposite, press your back foot into the ground. Let it sink down and draw it inward. When you have that sink and in, then reach both of your arms. Yeah, that's it. So strong from your back foot, sinking down and hugging in. Hug, Allie. Hug my arm with your inner thigh line. That's the pose. Turn your chest to the ceiling, Bob. Lunge. Hands to the floor for chaturanga. Keep the inner thigh line strong. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. Have a sigh. That's some hard work when you're using your deep core like that. Step your left leg forward for crescent lunge. Eyes on one spot and you breathe. Like the front leg is sinking and hugging. Hug, Candy. Yep, just like that. Keep breathing. Bring your right hip forward a little more. Like that's it. Let your back foot sink down into the sand and drag into the center line. Then lift up and go back. You got it. Keep on breathing. It's a gentle hug. Lift up and go back. Hands to prayer and twist. Right elbow to your left knee. Be patient with the pose. Keep on breathing. The degree to which you've got this inner thigh line hugging in quality hug is how powerful and easy the pose could become. It takes something to implement this strength, and yet when it's there, the pose lights up. You can open your arms, half bind or full bind, and then just keep hugging. Hug against my palm and forearm. Imagine your front legs hugging. Take a breath. Stay and exhale. Reach up to the crescent lunge and set your gaze. Get steady. Open up to warrior two. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Lunge deep. Settle into your feet. Breathe and anchor the back edge of your back foot. Hug your back leg in and lunge deep. Hug right here, Bob. Tilt. One arm to the floor, one arm to the ceiling. Stretch your arms apart. Then sink your back foot into the ground like it's sinking into sand and hug it in. Right in through here, hug. Then when you've got that hug, palm forward, reach your arm over your ear, press your foot, but hug it in, and then reach both arms up to the front corner of the room. Your back leg is controlling the power of this. That'll work too when you have that. One more breath. Turn your chest to the ceiling. Hands to the floor for chaturanga and keep the inner thigh line strong. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Nice work. Breathe in. Breathe out. Two more here. Inhale and exhale. Here comes the last one. Get the thigh line working. Bend your knees and jump. It'll float if you can get that halfway lift. I'm seeing that in a lot of you. Fold. Chair twist. Sit back into the chair. Breathe when you get into the chair. Maybe put your crisscross arms in between your knees and press out while your knees hug in. And you can sit back more deeply into your heels. Try maybe lifting your 10 toes up. Once you get this kind of action going in your legs, lift the pit of your belly. So it doesn't mean go round. It means instead of swaying, you just fill in your lower back. When you have all that, your body's so long, put your right hand on your hip, keep this other hand in one knee and resting on your thigh, and then just turn. So don't have to turn a lot. You just stretch your spine long and make a little twist. Maybe take your right arm and wrap it behind your back. I always love to do that. I rest my hand then on the top of my left pelvis, and it keeps my back long. Keep breathing. One more breath to just stretch as long as you can and twist. Reach up to the chair. Forward fold. Fold. Hook your big toes and just stretch down. Breathe. Long, long spine. Just let your whole long back go. Pose by pose, we get this chance to pay attention to our body and come into an understanding of what's actually happening for us physically, and we can work with that then. Places that feel not full of health, not inattention, we can breathe and be soft and easy and let it open up and have a new experience. Okay, let's do the chair the other way. Sit back, crisscross your forearms, and give the inner thigh resistance and breathe. You're just pressing gently out so that you can get the sense of your feet sinking down and scooping in until you feel musculature working, like you've lit up from your arch to your groin. So just a little gentle pressure. Sit way back. Then let your right arm rest across your two thighs. Keep pressing. Left hand can be on your hip or wrapped around behind. Whole body long and start to turn. Start to turn. Keep your belly lifting. See if you can feel your whole back right ribs get long and just twist. Keep this coming back. Last breath. Twist. Reach up for the chair. Forward fold. Stand on your hands. Keep on breathing as best you can, so let your whole spine hang down long. Whole body long through your back, just let go. One more breath. Let go. And then squat down, bring your hips to the floor and come onto your back. We're going to take crow pose on your back. So feet together, knees wide, make a diamond shape with your legs. Put your arms between your knees. You can bend your elbows, palms face up like they're standing on the ceiling. Take a breath in. When you exhale, make your spine long from tail to the top of your crown. You'll feel the back of your neck get long. Then take a breath in, blow out and sink your abdominal muscles deep down until you feel your whole spine on the mat. Then breathe in again. This time as you exhale, press your knees to your elbows and curl your tail up. Last one, back of the neck even longer. Fold at your bottom ribs and curl up. Now just stay right here, tail curling, shoulders curling, back of the neck long. Shrug your shoulders to your ears, press them down toward your hips. Breathe right here for 3 more breaths. Every time you exhale, squeeze your knees a little more and curl. Inhale, exhale, squeeze your knees and curl. One more time, inhale, exhale, squeeze your knees and curl. Hug them into your chest and rock head to tail. Back and forth several times, back and forth, and then plant your feet, come up to chair pose. Feet to the floor, come up to chair pose. I know it's tricky, you might need your hands. It's always a surprise, that one. Take a breath in, fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Walk halfway up your mat. Squeeze your fingertips to the floor. So we had our crow pose, keep that in mind. Inhale, and as you exhale, bring your knee forward and touch it to your elbow. Lift it up and high. Then come back. Other knee forward, touch it to your elbow. Find the trajectory of the pose being worked kind of high, the movement, where you come up and around and see if you can touch your elbow. You can keep going like that one side at a time, or practice just seeing if you can float forward into the crow pose. One leg at a time. One of the keys that I'll show for you is to keep your whole body light and high. You're doing it just right, Tina. Light and high as you do this. If you let your hips drop and you come more into a plank, you won't have the space. One more try. If everyone can, just give yourself a try. Jump into your crow pose, see what happens. Some of you surprise yourself. Nice. And then for everyone, once you've gotten a chance to try that, at the front of your mat and forward fold. Hang there. Breathe. There you go, Jordan. Surprised yourself. Come rolling up to standing and sweep your arms overhead. Stretch them all the way up, look up, then right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under. Squat down, wrap your right leg over. Keep your breath steady. Yeah, so high up on your thigh in chair pose if you can, and see if your toes will tuck behind your calf muscle. Then squeeze your legs together. Squeeze your arms together. Sit down low with your legs. Lift up high with your arms. Next inhale, step out. Left arm under, left leg over. Steady here. Left arm under, left leg over. Breathe. Now sit down deep. And pull the pit of your belly into your body and up to your chin. See if you can stand up tall in the pose. Yeah, and drop your tail. That'll mean lift your belly and squat. There, feel different? Step out, sweep your arms overhead, stretch up. Now, right side once again, right arm under, right leg over. Once you get your legs and your arms set, steady your gaze on one point at the front of the room. Steady arms, steady legs. Keep your arms, pick your top leg up, step it back into crescent lunge legs. Deep lunge, lift up and go back. So you'll want to lunge down really low and keep your scooping in and hugging in legs that we've been practicing. Keep all of that. Keep your scooping and hugging legs. They're going to be your steering wheels. And then shift forward, arms stay, airplane legs or warrior three. See what you can see here. Give your back inner thigh legs a hug in. Your standing foot, let it sink into the ground and hug in. Nice, Megan. Unwrap your arms, airplane arms, lift your chest, a little more freedom. Hands to prayer, splits in the air. So hands to the floor, leg in the air. You can almost rest here. You got it. Hug the leg if you can, and then lift. There you go. You can wrap both arms around your standing leg if that works for you. And then hug it. Half moon, left fingertips on the floor, right leg high in the air, and reach up. Turn your chest open to the right. Look up and reach up. Another breath. From this half moon, step your right leg back, warrior two, reverse the warrior and just stretch. Whole side body stretching. You can reach it up to a reverse triangle and then cartwheel your hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take just one breath in, one breath out, look forward, jump up to your hands. Half lift, forward fold. Press your feet down, hug them in, then come rolling up to standing. Keep the action, your legs, arms overhead. Left side eagle pose, left arm under, left leg over, and just keep breathing. Steady breathing. Cross your legs. You can sit down low and keep them crossing. Keep your arms. Unwrap your top leg. Step it back to crescent lunge. Breathe. Establish that you have the sink down and hug in action. Hug. Don't let me win this. You hug into my right like that the whole time. Do it with the back leg. You've got this. Step forward to warrior three in your legs or like you do for airplane. Keep breathing. See if you can imagine the inner thigh hugging, standing leg in, lifting leg in. Unwrap your arms, open them up, airplane arms, lift your chest, breathe. Forward fold, splits in the air. Standing leg as high as it will go. Two hands on the floor, or one can hug your standing calf. That's it, Vasha. Or two can hug your standing calf. Breathe and lift it just as high as it'll go. Half moon, right hand to the ground. Open up, look to the ceiling. Activate your feet. Yes, like they're hugging like this. Hug your whole leg gently against. Yes. Now do it in your standing leg. Strong belly. Tilt back, warrior two. Keep that action the whole way. Reverse the warrior two. Your body stretch, straighten your leg, reverse triangle, whole body stretch. Hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, and breathe. Now give yourself a second. Take a couple of breaths and feel what it is in your body. What's happening? You have a lot of tapping into your core strength right now. Walk your feet halfway up your hands. While you're here, let your hands sink down into the ground and hug in like we did in the beginning when we did the tabletops and the shoulders sunk and got heavy. Then feet in a diamond shape. Inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, lean into your fingertips. Every time you inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, lean. The next step for people is to bend and take a tiny hop where they forcibly hug the inner thigh line, feet stay together. Do 10 of those little hops where your feet stay together. You don't have to hop far. Let your hips come over top of your shoulders if they will. That can be the scary part for a lot of people. Nice. Jump a little harder. That's it. Do it again. Jump a little harder. Yes, just like that. I think you're better at this than you know. Come to the front of your mats, forward fold and hang and take rest. Nice, Tina. Hang and rest. Maybe take a sigh if you need to clear your thinking, clear what you know about the experience so far. Let your feet sink down into the sand. Once they sink down, hug them toward each other. Keep that action. Keep letting them sink. Come rolling up to standing. Arms overhead. We'll take this standing bow pose and you're going to need the action in your legs we've been practicing. So right arm bone back. Roll open your forearm and palm. Hold your ankle from the inside. Right here, I can be focused on hugging in of my two legs thigh lines. Once I've got that, I even work with my palm facing toward the midline so I can imagine squeezing it. Keep on breathing and start to stretch forward and back, locating the midline. I'm going to help you with your hand grip here. Feel how your shoulder is? Now feel it. Yeah, just like that. So if you could imagine your palm is pressing in on something, your back foot's arch is pressing in on something, especially its knee, kick, and push your foot up to the ceiling. Yeah, just like that. And push your foot up to the ceiling. Okay, step out, feet on the floor, hands on your hips, eyes on one spot, and breathe. Perhaps a sigh. Let's do the second side. So now arm bones straight back, palm open, hold your foot from the inside. Arm in the air, palm facing in. And your palm and arm, they can move into the midline, and your whole kicking leg, it can move into the midline. And then you can kick forward and back and keep searching for the invisible line that goes right down through your whole experience, where you feel your palm and forearm gently hug. Your standing arch, knee, shin, thigh gently hugging. In the back, inner thigh, knee, calf muscle, ankle hugging. Come on out, feet on the floor. Breathe. Let's get a second set. Right arm back. Hold the ankle from the inside. This is like peak perfect yoga weather this morning. Perfect humidity, perfect heat, great breath. Your body is so ready right here to have an incredible experience. Now just hug, just like that. So you'll pull your arm bone back into your shoulder. Yes. From your core, you hold and hug, just like that. 3 more breaths. You got it, Angela. 2 more. Hug. Hug. Yes. 1 more. Come on out. Feet on the floor, hands on your hips. And just feel what's so in your body. We're doing a second set. Your body's so ready for this. Do you need the strap? You're going to do it the same way. You decide, and let's get set and go. The strap will give you extra opening in your shoulders. So hold on to your foot, kick back. Hug the inside of your knee in, Scott, and press your ankle out. Yes. Now make negative space between your arm and your back by pushing your foot up. Hug. Hug here. Yeah. You got it. Hug. And with your palm, like you're pressing into the center line. Keep on breathing. Keep on breathing. Press my hand. Yes, like that. Come on out of it. Feet on the floor. Steady yourself. Second set, second side. Did we do that? The faces over here are like, no, none of that. Okay, let's do tree pose. Get so excited about it when we're going. We could do a third set. Anybody voting for a third? Philomena, a third. Wendy, a third. Philomena's John says 3. Let's do the third. One person voted. I maybe shouldn't have identified you. Go for the third. You're going to get you after class in the parking lot. Go for the third. We won't hold it long. You take 3 deep breaths on each side. See what you can discover. Damon, just hold on the outside, though. Yeah. Here's your midline. And bring the knee in towards Suzette. That's it. And the ankle out toward Jem. Knee in, ankle out. When you finish, take your other side. Nice work. I think a lot of you are getting that sense of your center line as I look around. It's a play. It comes and it goes, but that's where you're going to have something to take home from your yoga class. Hug. Now put your foot, take it back. Just as much as you're reaching forward, take it back. Yeah, just your palms, like that. Shin back. Knee that way. Ankle toward your mom. Come on out of it. Really good work. See, that third one's a good one. You're going to thank John later. Now we'll take the tree. Left foot down, right foot up, hands to prayer. If you really give them a press together and let your foot sink down into the sand and hug in, and you'll come with your thigh against your foot and your foot against your thigh, you'll find that your whole system calms down. One of the things people say they want as a result or get as a result from taking yoga classes is a sense of calm or being able to calm themselves in a difficult moment. This is the actual measurable example of that. Your body was working, and your body can say, I got it, I know you're working, and you've got this. Switch sides, right foot down, left foot up. So with that one yoga sutra, there are 100, more than 100. One that speaks to the physical poses must be important. Create balanced action. Easy, comfortable pose. Strong. One more breath. Nice work. Come to the front of your mats. Very nice work. When you inhale, sweep your arms overhead and fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. Use your inner thighs. Drop into your low plank. Get that hugging feeling, and the dropping will be so light. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, right side triangle pose. Step your right foot forward and keep your breath flowing. Just set it up. Anchor your front foot's big toe down. So imagine it is sinking down into sand. And then the arch side is scooping into the sand. As it scoops in, you'll also notice that your thigh kind of has a pressure out. And in your back foot, it sinks into the sand and hugs in. You could go a little longer, I think, Basha, if you want to try that. Okay, come on up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat. Hands to your hips and forward fold. All the way down and through. All the way down. Take your hands between your feet and walk them as far through your feet and away from you as you can. And drop your head to the ground. Keep on breathing here. For some of you, your head will touch the ground. You can work with that. Some of you, when your head touches the ground, you're ready to even be pressing into a headstand. Now, your arms are set up in a challenging variation for a headstand, this straight back, palm down setup. Or you could do the bent arms if you'd like. Let's just do one more breath here. Okay, come halfway up, turn toward your front foot for Hanumanasana, the splits. Once you bring your hands forward, drop your back knee down, straighten your front leg, toes to the ceiling, and then instead of pressing away from your body, like your heel is sinking into the sand and dragging back towards you, and it will drag back a little bit. Once that's happening, keep on breathing and letting your heel sink down, and then hug it inward. In your back leg, let your knee sink down, but hug it inward. That's probably not an action you've really felt in a split before, but it should be there. It's just a bit challenging to create. Toes straight up in the air. Keep on breathing. And right here, hug. Keep that. And right here, hug. Hug in. All the way through your arch. Hug, Nikki. Can you hug? If you're able, forward fold. See if there's anything there. Keep the hugging. You can put your own palm against your arch. Nice, Jordan. Then hands to the floor for downward facing dog. Stretch back. Just take one breath to clear it all out. And then your left foot forward for triangle pose. Use your breathing. You set the pose up the way you want it to be. Take a long stance. When you get the sink and scoop of both of your legs, and you've got this really deep crease of your left hip, you have the foundation, once you have the pit of your belly, for a huge back bend in this pose. Sink your feet into the earth and hug them in. Back foot sinking and hugging in. And you've got more then. Explore. See what's available in your body. You've got a foundation here. That's it. Try to touch Bob's hip. Look for it. Jam, touch it. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Take your arms behind your back. Lift your chest and forward fold. Every time you exhale, let your feet sink heavy down into the ground. And then maybe hug in. Maybe with a sigh, the weight of your arms can just go. And then just breathe and experience the space between each one of your ribs. Just one more breath. Then release the bind, walk toward your front leg, put your back knee down on the ground. Hanumanasana this way, splits. One of these days, it's in my mind to plan for you, to give you a whole class where you hear the name of every one of the poses. In our style, we don't really focus on that. You don't speak Sanskrit, so we just generally go with what you do speak and we speak. And not only do the poses have names, but those names have meanings. Keep on breathing. One day we'll play with that in a whole class. Got your inner thigh of your front leg, like your heels sinking and hugging. I see you got that, Megan. And then in your back knee, like it's sinking and hugging. And then give yourself a fold if there's some space available for that. Nice. Really great form for so many of you in these poses. Just a little hug, Serena. Yes. It makes a weird difference, doesn't it? Hands to the floor, downward facing dog, stretch back. Okay, in your downward facing dog, you can use your block for feedback. You could hug it between your shins or your thighs, but look back at your feet. Move your heels, not your toes, a little wider until you can't see them. And then take a breath with a sigh and feel like your toes sink down into the ground. And your feet start to hug inward till you feel your inner thighs from your arches to your groin light up. Keep that. Come to a high plank position and keep it. Stay right here. Feel your hands sink, feel your toes sink, and hug in. Keep that. Next breath, lift your hips up and back to downward dog. Now, several times you take your body to plank and back to downward dog and see if you can maintain the feeling of the sink and hug in of your feet and your hands, your foundation. See if you can maintain all of that. A couple times up and back. and then join up in the downward dog. So keep all that great sink down and hug in. Set your hands and feet wider. Still sink down and hug in. Come to a high plank. Sink down and hug in and go to low plank. Sink down and hug in. Come to high plank. Go to downward facing dog. Particularly in your legs. High plank, low plank. Squeeze, high plank, downward dog. One thigh line, high plank, low plank. Do you feel it? High plank, downward dog. Good. Come to a high plank and lower all the way down to your belly. Really good work. Keep your legs the way you have them. All the way to your belly. Toes turned under. Legs active. Take your arms behind your back and interlace them. We'll come into locust pose. So your feet, those toes can be turned under, your feet active and lift up. And just keep breathing. Same action. Let your toes sink as though they're going down into the ground. And your whole inner thigh line hug inward. When you do all that, feel how broad your lower back becomes. You need that for every kind of back bend. Now stay here and let's get the contrast. Just let your heels drop into each other and your toes turn out and lift. And how does that feel in your lower back? Yeah, and I know. Come on down. Not good, right? That should have felt not good when we went to this body position with your legs, different from this active body position. Bend your knees, reach back, and hold your ankles. Before you go anywhere, as you breathe, let your knees settle down and let them hug in. Once you've got that, kick back and rise up. You got it. Breathe. So your knees will have an inward hug, squeeze, and your ankles will have an outward press, oddly enough. Because if your legs were straight, that would feel like the action. Come on down. Feet side to side. Second set, try it again, or do the other side if you're doing one at a time. Kick back and rise up. Kick back and rise up. Flexed feet are a really good tool. Hug your knees till they hug my ankles. And then press your hands into my hands. So those go wide, but hug my ankles. There. Feel your lower back. Keep hugging my ankles. Hug them, hug them, hug them. Yes, keep hugging them. Come on down. Feet side to side. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Come onto your knees for camel pose. Once you get onto your knees, let your knees sink and hug in. Hands on your hips, like you're just going to shove them down into back pockets. And what that'll do is drop your tail. Keep on breathing with your knees and your toes sinking and hugging, and lift. When you hug, you'll feel a lift all the way up to the pit of your belly. From the pelvic floor to the pit of your belly, up to your chest, lifting. And then maybe you reach your hands back. Keep the drop down of your knees and the hug in. You're right there. Right through here you lift. On your inhale, come up out of this downward facing dog. You have such great skill on board right now. We're ready to do some pretty great back bending. You ready? Jump through your hands, sit down, and roll onto your back. Greg, you look not ready. Onto your back. Bend your knees, feet on the floor under your knees and hip width distance. And yet you are. So feet right underneath of your knees. If they're forward of your knees, then you're going to have a little challenge with this. You can set your feet wide. Before we lift up, just let your feet sink down. Once they sink down, scoop them in and then lift your hips up into the bridge pose. If you did the sink and scoop while you're coming up, your lower back will remain broad. You can interlace your hands under your body and press your elbows straight. In doing that, your shoulders will move open onto the mat. If they don't go straight, you could hold a strap so that they'll go straight. Now stay here. Really sink your feet down into the ground and hug them in. Keep the hugging in action as you hug your right knee into your chest. Try not to move the foot that's on the floor. Hug your knee into your chest and then put that foot on the floor and sink it down and hug it in. Don't move that foot. Bring the other knee, your left knee, into your chest. Sink down and hug in. And bring your foot to the floor and come on down. Knees side to side. That foundation will give you access to a big back bend. Bridge pose again. Press down and rise up. The wide set feet are a nice tool. Sink your whole foot down and hug in. Fingertips to the ceiling, flex your wrists. Set them wide, your hands, set them wide, palms on the floor, ready for wheel. Take a breath, press your hands and feet into the ground and rise up into wheel pose. Now let your hands sink down into the sand and hug them in. Remember to sink your feet down and hug them in. John, can you open your heels? A little wider with your heels. Just one more step. That's it. Take a breath and come on down. Knees side to side. Okay, this is good work. We're going to do a few of these. Let's get ready. Set it up. Press down, rise up. And you just are working for feet or hands or both, sinking down and hugging in. You got it. Sinking down and hugging in. Squeeze your knees together. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Let's go again. Set it up. Bridge or wheel. Press down and rise up. Let your feet sink down. Let your hands sink down and hug them in. You might feel the back of your shoulders become more broad. Come on down. Knees side to side. Let's set it up again. Press down and rise up. Keep your breath flowing. Get your hands and feet set. Once they're set, hug your knee, your right knee into your chest. The foot on the floor, sink down and hug it in. And put that foot on the floor and do the other side. Left knee in. Now, did you have to turn your toes way out to accomplish this? Come on down. Knee side to side. Sometimes I do, and then I know I'm just like not doing the best I can for my body. Let's give it another try. Set up your wheel pose. Come all the way up into it. Organize that your feet are as close to parallel as they'll be in your body today. You might need to not press your hips so high. And then anchor your feet. I see that, Nikki. Keep it. And bring your right knee into your chest. Oh, and then you just changed it when you picked up your foot. And then the other knee into your chest. Jordan, hug and come on down. Knees side to side. Knees side to side. Let's do another wheel. Press down and rise up. This will be the last one. Come on up. This will be the last one. You did so much work. You should have a chance to get up there and play with it. I don't know, maybe tippy toe and crab walk your hands in toward your feet. And then sink your heels back down. And then when it's all finished, come on down, Supta Baddha Konasana. It's always one of these nice pausing points where your body has the chance to get settled, even though it's been really working. And you get this chance to just be still and feel whatever it is that you're feeling. Like, what's all the work that's going on in your body right now? Now, the next couple of poses, you can take dead bug. The next couple of poses after this dead bug pose are to stabilize your body. You did so much opening, but we've really been building a ton of stability in the lowest part of the core strength. We're going to stabilize the core that you think of, your abdominals. Hug your knees into your chest. Then two legs straight up in the air and curl up. And then you can hug your block right between your shins, or think about your thigh bones sinking down into your pelvis and hugging in. So you light up the inner thigh line you've been feeling and curl. When you curl, you want to stretch the back of your neck as long as you possibly can and fold at your bottom ribs. Stay right here and breathe. As you exhale, sink the pit of your belly down. Now, just reach 5 times as you blow out. 1. There won't be any need to unwind your head and fling it up. We're just sinking and deepening the core right now. And then hug your knees into your chest and drop your head. We're going to give it a challenge. We're going to want to keep from hip to hip, rib to rib, and everything in the middle of that box sinking and stable. Curl up so the back of your neck gets long, your shoulders are relaxed, and you're folded at your ribs. Make a tabletop with your legs. Reach in front of you. Now breathe in. When you exhale, touch your right toes and bring them up. Same with your left toes and bring them up. And this is an easy, gentle work. We want it to be that your body stays still. Each toe 2 more times. Are you able to do that? No rocking. You're just sending a limb away and drawing it back. Hug your knees and relax. Hug your knees and relax. Okay, one more time. Curl up. Make your tabletop, back of your neck long. Push against your thighs with your palms. Then it's going to be same side. Reach away and press back. Reach away and press back. The side that's pressing will help to really stabilize you, so the side that's reaching doesn't destabilize. What's destabilizing? It's your back arching. Can you do this without your back arching on the reaching side? Try it a couple more times each side. Check out your back. Does your back have to buckle up? If it does, you don't have to lower that leg so low. Hug your knees into your chest when you're even on both sides. Did you feel something new inside your center core in that exercise? Good. It's something else. Rock head to tail a couple of times. Back and forth, through to downward facing dog. Then you can take pigeon pose on the right side. Right leg forward, knee in front of your hip, the shin as square as it will or will not be, and sit straight back. Get accustomed to this pose, right thigh pulling back, left thigh pulling forward. When you're ready, you can take the fold. A block under your right hip can be a good tool for a lot of people. So if you do have a block or a folded up towel, tuck that under your right hip and come back up. We want both sides of your pelvis to stay level, different from one side sinking down. Keep them level. And then bend your back knee. Reach back like you're doing the standing bow. Hold just your open palm on the inside of your arch and press your arch to your palm and your palm to your arch. This hand, maybe it's on a block. Lift the pit of your belly. Yes. So palm inside of your arch. Open up your fingertips so it's just your palm and just create pressure. And lift the pit of your belly. If you feel your fingers wrapping around your foot and squeezing, open them back and just press like your palm makes a wall. Yeah. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Switch sides. Left leg forward, pigeon pose. Take the forward fold. Check on Wendy over here and see how she's doing at home. Doing good over there, Wendy? Yeah, good. Vasha, can you bring your knee in a bit? So right about to here. Other way. To the inner. Yeah, that's it. Now try that. Yep. Okay, come on up. A little something to keep you from dropping into your left hip. I usually have to tug at least a folded up hand towel under my hip or I'll drop over. Then reach back and put your palm inside of your arch. Let your fingers flare out so you're just giving a wall of resistance. Let your arch press in and your palm press out. And then as you breathe, keep bringing your right ribs forward. That's it. Yeah, to bring your ribs forward toward me. Yes. That's it. And lift the pit of your belly, like long and lean. That's it, Jem. Lift the pit of your belly. John, lift the pit of your belly. That's it, Angela. Tina, lift the pit of your belly. You got it, Jordan. Yep, Nikki. Yep, got it. Good, Damien. Yes. Yep. Lift the pit. Yeah. But right here, lift. Yep. And this will move forward in time. All right, downward facing dog. Stretch back. Okay, you can bring your knees down to the ground. Now, you have done a lot of good work, and keep your block handy. There'll be a lot of different ways that the next piece of work each one of you works on. So block, that's going to end up here. For all of us, I'll show you this way. Bring your forearms down to the ground and interlace your fingers. When you do that, you don't want to put a pinky on a pinky. That will be crushing in a moment. Put one in front of the other one. One in front of the other one. And then depends on your forearm proportion, I'll keep like a rounding, like I'm holding an orange in my palms. Some of you will make full-on fist, but I'll say to you again, one pinky on top of the other feels crushing. Then put that on the ground and just let it sink down into the ground, your whole forearms. From your elbow up to your pinky knuckles, just let it sink into the sand, and then the gentle hugging in. Then your head, not the hairline, but behind it about an inch, inch and a half, put that on the ground. Once that touches the ground, not your fingers, the ground, your head can be cradled by your hands. Keep sinking down and hugging in. Turn your toes under and lift your hips in the air like downward facing dog. Then walk your hands in. Squeeze the block so you feel the back of your pelvis get broad. Inhale. Exhale, point your toes. Inhale, roll to the ball of your foot. Exhale, point your toes and lean your hips in toward your head. Back and forth. And then just tiny little drags of your toes in. See if they'll drag in toward your face. You hug the block. See if they'll drag in. You got it. Your head goes on the ground. You cradle your head. Tippy toe. Drag your toes in. Then you might find you're able to drag your toes and you want the next step. Put your head on the ground, sink and hug, and then these guys go here. So don't worry about in the air. We're learning to press it. Some of you will drag and lift your feet just a tiny bit off the ground and back down. Can you lift them 1 inch and put them back down? So we're working on the pressing into your headstand. You got it. Lift them 1 inch, Angela. So Angela, your elbows are wide. That'll lead to you rolling out of it. And put your more closer to your hairline down. Yep. If you find you have an urge to roll out of it, you're too far back on your head. If you feel really crunchy in your neck, you're too close to the hairline. Walk in close, head on the ground, and just see if you can lean your hips over your head as much as possible and lift your toes. Just a little. Lift them and back to the ground. That's it. Make your elbows a little closer and walk your feet in a little closer. You got it. Now lean into your hands, drag your toes and lift them just to there and back down. You can do this. I know you can. You do that. Nikki, maybe closer with your elbows if you can. For everyone, child's pose. You guys have worked really hard. Child's pose. And when I've been practicing inversions, particularly where I end up straining my upper back knee because I'm learning something new, what feels even better than child's pose is newborn pose. So it's where you wrap your hands then around back toward your feet. So your hands just go back toward your feet. Stay right here and just breathe. While you're back here curled up in the newborn pose, wrap your hands around your feet. Hold on to your heels from the outer sides. Leave your head on the ground as close to your knees as it will go. Then press your shins into the ground and lift your hips into the air. Your arms will stretch. The pose is called rabbit pose. It stretches your upper back much like a shoulder stand will. So your head, forehead touching your knees if possible. So tuck it in there. That's it. Hold on to your heels, Suzette. And then lift your hips and your arms will stretch. Yeah, like that. Yep, that's it, Damien. Just breathe into your upper back. If you ever feel like you want the upper back stretch, but for whatever reason, taking the plow or shoulder stand doesn't work for you, you can take rabbit pose. Sit your hips back onto your heels, put your hands on the floor under your shoulders and press and come rolling up to a sitting position all the way up. Swing your legs around. We'll take the seated single leg stretches. Stretch your right leg long and bend your left leg. You can fold over your right leg. Left hand to hold the baby toe side of your right foot. I like taking my right hand and relaxing it around behind my back. When I rest the back of my hand on the back of my pelvis, it just seems to give me a little bit of extra opening in my low back, and I always want that. Yep, you got it. Couple of breaths. Okay, come on up and keep your legs. Then with your legs the same way you just had them, turn your right palm up so your palm's facing the ceiling. Maybe put your block on the inside of your knee and bring your elbow to rest on the block or your knee. Some of you may have a very bent knee, and then hook your big toe with your thumb. With your other hand on your thigh, not your knee, just press down on it and away from you and lift and turn your chest up to the ceiling. This might be good for a lot of you, and then many of you will be able to make a cactus arm. Instead of letting your body crowd down and forward, keep it open. And if with it open, you can take your arm overhead and reach for your foot, you could do that and get a whole side body stretch. If you take this side body stretch really easily and you're just looking for more, hold on to your toe, tight as you can. Keep your body rolling open, and you may end up rolling onto your back. It would go right, and it keeps on going to here. It's okay. You can even put your flat foot on the floor for stability and just let your chest open. Okay, come on up and crawl back out of it. Other side, left leg long, fold over your left leg, and opposite hand to baby toe. Breathe. Sometimes it's nice to have a few extra minutes for the leg stretches. A million ways to customize based on what you discover in your body. You're welcome to bend your knee. Ideally, we'd each have hold somehow of the baby toe so the outside ankle softens and the baby toe pulls back to your face. So right now we're in this forward fold position. Next, we'll take the side bend. The legs stay. You come up. Flip your palm, thumb around your big toe, elbow to the floor or block. Press away. Give yourself a chance for this pressing away to feel the stretching that's possible just in this stage of the pose. And then if that happens, where this whole bottom of your torso is still coming through, it's not caught back here, but it's coming through, then create your cactus arm and then reach overhead. 2 hands can hold your foot, and you could roll open onto your back. Hey, you got it, Nikki. There you go. It's weird like that. Don't be afraid to roll around and kind of make a goofy pose here. You got it. If you can, keep opening your chest. Nice. Another breath. Come on out of this. 2 legs in front of you, forward fold. And why don't we make this one just so easy? Make this one different, maybe than a forward fold. Make it a ragdoll. Just drop your head and hang. Let your body be really easy here. Head dropping, hanging. Let your back be pretty round in it. And breathe. Then come rolling up and onto your flat back, where you can hug your knees into your chest. Once your knees are into your chest, maybe curl and bring your forehead to your knees so you have this sense that the whole back of your body has opened up. And then head down to the ground. Drop your knees to the left and look to the right. A sigh could be just the best thing here. Oops. To the center, hug your knees into your chest. Maybe bring your forehead to your knees. Now knees drop the other way. This is the best time of year to practice when it's humid. You come in with your body warm, and we have access to so much. Come to the center, hug your knees into your chest. Supta Baddha Konasana. In studio, you've got the cool eye towel. And finally, Shavasana. Once you get to your Shavasana, take a deep breath in and give a sigh. Let your whole body settle. You might have done some things physically that were new for you today. Give yourself the opportunity to just be in the experience of what you've created. Begin to deepen your breathing. And maybe make it a deep breath with a sigh. Ultimately, give your fingers and toes a squeeze. And then hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side and bring yourself up into a sitting position. Sit comfortably and reach your arms overhead. Then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. And 3 times we'll chant together. Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Namaste. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining on this holiday weekend. It's a great thing to get to spend the time with you. If you have any questions about your practice here at Evolution, I'm happy to answer your questions on your way out. Wendy, thank you for being with us today. It was so nice to have you. See you next time.